this video after another exciting time. For some reason, Amazon is not liking my streaming speed, even though I've tested it back and forth a little bit. Oh wait, perhaps it will like it. Cheryl, what did you do?
I didn't really do anything. I just went in and out a few times, and I canceled out. I turned off your Wi-Fi and turned it back on, and it seems to...
Okay. So we're going to be going live on all the places. So hopefully you guys have found me. Okay, we're live on Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, all the places. Yay! So I just want to say welcome. So I'm going to be looking at my phone some for those of you who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and other places. Okay, Apple is here, and this is awesome. And she says, hello, take two. I know, this is really exciting. If you guys can move just a little bit further away, that would be super helpful for me, Cheryl. If you could move further away, that would be helpful. I love when we have issues and then there's mumbling. So I can't, we have a guest who may come and sing something for us later, perhaps, but we're not quite ready for that. And 8 lovely people, 11 lovely people, even more lovely people are coming on. So thank you for coming. I am Kathy Hester, and we are going to do another Multo by Cooking Pal demonstration. And I'm going to be pushing buttons over here, so excuse me, I have to do the Amazon stuff over here. I would love to know how you're doing today. Say hello, let me know that life is good, that you're having this much energy or all the energy in the world. I am on caffeine to coffee number 2. Which I don't do anymore. So I might be super extra excited today. So a couple of things. I think I already said I'm Kathy Hester. We're working with the Multo today. And as I'm saying these things, I'm going to be putting them on the Amazon carousel. If you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever, you can go to Amazon.com. Up at the very top, it'll say live streams if you're on your computer. I think you might have to click somewhere else during the side, and it should show that I am live. And then you can see things like that. Deb from High Point is here. Welcome. I love to have some North Carolina people. I'm in Durham, North Carolina. And as you can see behind me, it's a little bit cloudy. It's very humid. You might see me spitzing a little bit. I feel like I'm kind of have my own personal sauna because I've been like, I am not turning on the air conditioning. I did turn it on yesterday and it was lovely, but it's cooler now. And Janet from Connecticut is here, and Deb says it's dreary. And it's Adele from Pennsylvania. Yay! I love having all you guys here. So let me show you just to the side of the Multo. We're going to make 2 recipes today, so don't worry, we're not just going to talk about one appliance and be done. So this is kind of like a blender, food processor, steamer, cooker extraordinaire. So it does a lot of different things. It even has steamer baskets that go on top of here, but we're not using them today. Those of you who've seen this before, it actually works through this little tablet, and I'm going to show you the tablet view as we go through these recipes, okay? So you'll get to work along with me, see how things are doing. And CJ from Scotland is here, yay! And it's sunny. Is it nighttime? Are you like getting ready to go to sleep there? I never know the whole time difference. It confuses me. I get confused about California time. And I don't know where places are, so that's where my Americanisms probably end. It's that I don't know geography or time, or the metric system. I sort of know the metric system. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on today. And we've done 2 of these, so we've done blender stuff. So last week we made strawberry oat milk, we made horchata. Right? It's evening, it's 6:15 in Scotland. Oh, and I love your name, Anti-Venom is a rainy day in New Orleans. Yeah, I love those. And Brandy's here. Brandy, I haven't seen you in forever. Welcome. I think about you all the time. I see your posts on Facebook, but then I don't say anything. I'm a stalker. It's the way it is. Okay, so the two things we're gonna make today, we're gonna make, and I always call things cheater when they seem just a little bit too easy. And everybody seems to love cheater foods. And in fact, people have asked me to do some classes with a can of beans, right? You start with a can of beans, a few other things, and magic, it's a meal. So we're gonna make salsa from diced tomatoes in a can. And hi, Dahlia. I think that's what that's at. Delia. I think it's Delia. Sorry about that. It's teeny over there, so I do the best I can. So anyhow, that's how we're gonna start. We're gonna add some things in. We're gonna make it close to the Milky Way. I mean, not the Milky Way, the Multo Way. Oh my God, you guys. All the names. The Multo Way. So, because what happens with this cool thing is there's recipes on there. You can cook manual, and why don't I just show you that? So it's asleep, so we're gonna wake it up. Okay, and that's a recipe I was at. So we've got modes. And from here, we can do manual, which means I can do whatever the heck I want. And Adelia says good job, so I'm assuming I got that right. So yay. We can steam, saute, you can weigh things on it, we can clean it, and maybe today I'll remember to do that. You can knead with it and keep warm, or we can go to guided recipes. And when we go to guided recipes, we can look up something. So I can come over here, and sometimes if you go to one you just searched, it just brings everybody up. And that happened recently, and there's tomato salsa. So this is what we're looking at, and I know it's a little hard to see. So here we have ingredients, okay? So we need tomatoes. They're saying 7 ounces. I'm using canned tomatoes. I'm a rebel. Be a rebel with me. We're gonna use some garlic. We're using things that look like jalapenos, but honestly, they're really mild. We're gonna use some onion, green pepper, cilantro. They're using fresh tomatoes and canned tomatoes. We're doing our own thing. Lime, apple cider vinegar. Usually I use either or, but we can see how this looks. You could use some cumin. With oregano, I'm gonna use Mexican oregano, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And in fact, I should probably put that in my Amazon carousel. And then I can look and see what these steps are. Okay. Also, I can go to Let's Start. And it says, take out your ingredients. Done. Okay, so next step. Remove the cilantro stems and add cilantro to the mixing bowl. I'm not going to do this. So again, I'm a rebel. Are you a rebel? Let's be rebels together. Okay? So when you see a recipe, and even for this, what this is really good about is now we kind of know how long to do things. I don't want to chop my cilantro and move it away. I want the cilantro in last so that it can be kind of chunky. That's the way I want it. And in fact, we could add a couple of fresh tomatoes because I have them. So maybe we'll do that. Just cause. Because I feel like it. But you don't have to. You could use 2 cans of diced tomatoes instead, okay? And Facebook user, hello, I don't know who you are, I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're here. And if you put your name, whoever said sounds good, then I will say hello to you personally. And Janet says she's a rebel and she changes things up in a recipe, and that's the way things should do. And I know Brandy is a rebel. And to fit your mood and fit the flavor, and like it said, oregano. If I have Mexican oregano for a Mexican dish, I'm going to use it. It's kind of in between marjoram. I am not on I need my speaking part of my brain to work. Marjoram and like Italian or Greek oregano. A little bit lemony, a little bit floral. And it's just super, super nice. Okay, so Ah, it's Mia. It is the basil lady that's watching on Facebook. And Anita, another rebel. So maybe we need things like Rebel Vegan. Maybe I need to make us some shirts. What do you think? I want to hear some feedback on that. My friend Dawn, the artist, is here. So we're going to go past that. Da, 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 da. We're going to chop garlic and jalapeno. Okay, so we can do that. And let me show you one thing. You guys probably already know this, but just in case. So I've got, actually this is my mise knife that I really, really like. And I recommend this highly. And then this is I've been using a lot of Eli Home stuff. This is Eli Home cutting board that catches all the juices, and some of my new favorite spatulas. And I'll put those around too on the carousel. And I'll come back to the cutting boards. Okay, so did you guys know, and probably the big answer is yes, if you put, I'm going to do this where you can see all of it. So I'm going to hold this flat. You want to make sure it's on the flat side. Ponk. Relieve your frustrations and peel your garlic all at the same time. And then I usually cut that little guy off. Just like the stem edge. You don't really have to, but I feel the need to. So again, we want to make sure that it's not rocking around. So if you've not done this before, so if I did it on this end, obviously it's going to go everywhere. We want to make it the flattest end towards the bottom. Smack. I feel so much better about life right now. Okay, got that going on over there. Alrighty, and so then I'm also supposed to stem. Let's go back and look. Add the garlic and the jalapeno to the mixing bowl. So we're gonna, these are not really jalapenos. They're sort of, these are super mild peppers actually, that are from the garden that have kind of a jalapeno taste. Actually, you can't see this at all. Let's go back overhead. And sometimes instead of seeding, you can cut around the edges. But I can see where some of this needs to happen. And you can do this on a bell pepper too. And typically, if you're working with a real jalapeno, you want to wear gloves or be very careful. And if you're not sure if it's hot or not, you can literally take a little piece, put it in your mouth, and it is so not hot. But it gives you still some of that nice green peppery taste without the spice. Should you use spicy ones? The question is, do you like spicy salsa? And if the answer is yeah, then the answer is yes. I'm getting a little bowl to put these trashy parts away. Okay. And I have another one. This one is not quite as fresh, but I would like not to waste it. Another way to not waste this would be to do this and to hydrate it and grind it in a spice grinder. That's how I make my own jalapeno powder, and I love it. Okay, and let's see what we're missing here. All right. We have missed, let's see, oh, and Mia says she's a goody-goody, and fun shirts are always in style. Thank you. I obviously think so. Alrighty, so now we're gonna put this stuff in here so you can see all the things, and I still have some room for chopping. You should never scrape your knife sharp edge, but the back of the knife you can use to scrape things off without damaging your knife, in case you didn't know that. This lid has a special part, this part, that goes over here to lock it. So we're going to put it on this way, and then we're going to twist until it locks. Did you hear that? Ding! That's it saying, I'm close, do the next thing. Okay, so now we don't go to sleep. I can't help, I'm working slow. And it says we recommend using gloves. I used very mild peppers, not spicy at all. And Brandy's saying, I missed the name of the appliance. It's Multo by Cooking Pal. So basically it's a multi-purpose kind of appliance. So you can cook in it. So the bowl heats up. You can chop, you can stir, you can make soups, you can make salsas. And here, I'm going to press start, and it's going to start chopping on its own. It's going to tell me the temperature, the time. This is what it was set for. 8 for the speed, 4 seconds for the chop. And then and it tells us it's done. This is a really great thing to get like young people into cooking, or to give someone who's going off into their apartment and not knowing how to cook. So now they want me to use green peppers too, but I'm not going to. So we're going to do an onion in quarters. And so let's look up here. And Brandy says it's cool. Yeah, the Multo is really kind of interesting. And it's got a big motor. It's very strong. And in fact, I put ice cubes in here and snow comes out. Like, I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm going to peel. Here, let's look and see what it looks like. And all that was things I didn't have to do. So let's use my spatula. Because you know, no matter what appliance I'm using, there's a spatula that's going to scrape down the sides. Because I am that spatula girl. Okay, so now I'm gonna, I don't know why Cheryl slams that door so hard. I'm gonna use half an onion because Cheryl really doesn't like onion. And it said to just quarter it, but this is pretty big. You guys can sort of see what I'm doing off to the side. Get the skin off. One onion I love getting right now is like the Vidalia onions that are kind of sweet. They're really, really nice. And I like them. So I said to quarter it, but I'm just going to cut it down just a little bit more. And perhaps I might make the thyme more. So this is about half of a large onion. We're going to put this lid back on, seal it. There we go. Wait for it to sing to us. And now we're going to press start. And it's going to do for 4 seconds at 6, which may not be enough for my family. So let's take a look inside and see. Oh yeah, that is not, I would like it to go more. If you like big chunks of onion, this is great. But if not, we're going to do it, and I'll show you how we can change it a little bit too through the app. Ooh, it's a strong onion. I think I'm going to wash my hands because I think I'm going to stick my finger in my eye. Do you guys ever have that? Like, I smell something strong. Ooh, let me touch something that's going to be ouchy, right? It's a little bit crazy. Okay, so I can come here. That was 4 seconds. And I can change it to like 10 seconds at 6. Confirm it, start it. All right, now let's take a look up in here. That's definitely much better for me. That may be too mushy for you, right? And it's okay either way. This should be the way you want it to be. This is just peppers and onions right now. So let's go on to the next step and see what we should be doing. Okay, Next step, cut tomatoes in half. And I have 2 tomatoes, so I'm going to throw them in. I am not going to be a rebel, but again, instead of doing that, use 2 cans of diced tomatoes. And that would be fine too. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of cut off part of it. And I usually cut around where the stem was connected. And yeah, it said to cut in half, and I just got a little crazy. I can't help myself. Okay. And I want to tell you, I got some beautiful heirloom tomatoes at the farmer's market that I am not using for this because I'm going to use it for sandwiches. Which of you guys grew up eating tomato sandwiches? Because if you didn't, it sounds super weird. I understand that it does. However, it was mayonnaise, white bread, and perfectly ripe garden tomatoes. And it tastes like magic. And you still can have them vegan with a vegan mayo or my tofu mayonnaise that is on YouTube. We made a tofu mayonnaise with just silken tofu, a little bit of lemon, salt and pepper. It was super easy. Janet loves tomato sandwiches, and so do I. Okay, so we've got the tomatoes in there. It's going to do 4 seconds at 6, so let's start it. Okay, now let's open it and see what it looks like. We're also going to be doing some other things too, right? We've got more things coming. I would like that chopped up just a little more Actually, you know what? It's not even me. Cheryl would like all of this chopped up much more. So I don't care if it goes into a slurry because I live with Cheryl. So I'm going to click that. Let's go on up to, let's do 10. And let's do 7. I'm okay if it purees. Confirm and start. All right, now let's take a look again. And this looks more like what's going to make Cheryl happy. We're going to have more stuff in here. This is not all that happens, so don't worry. But you need a good spatula like this Eli Home one to scrape things down. And you can scrape things down in the lid too, but this doesn't get quite so much. Oh, Brandy says, lazy man, poor man sandwiches. Yep, those are the best. And Vivian says, hello. Hi, Vivian. Welcome. We're so glad to have you with us today. And Barbara says, in addition to tomato sandwiches, we ate tomato slices with sugar. You know what is awesome? Tomato slices with smoked salt on top. Just if you eat salt. And if you don't, that's okay. But yum. You could probably also put some, because I do a salt substitute with 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of ground celery seed. Put it in a blender. You could also then put some liquid smoke or smoked paprika with that to make it smoky too. If you put liquid smoke in it, just to hydrate it and blend it again. So that would work really well. Now let's see what we're supposed to do next. Okay, so we're going to go to our next. We're going to add the canned tomatoes, lime juice, vinegar, salt, cumin. We're going to add all the other stuff. So let's come back over here. I'm going to move. Oh, this is, maybe I'm not going to move this so much. All right, so I've got a can of tomatoes. It's just a regular can. I'm going to, let me find this on the carousel. I did put in the latest safety one. I love these because it's easy to use once you get used to it, and then it doesn't make a sharp edge. Have you ever just cut yourself after doing something canned? It really sucks. I will just say that. I do not like it. Oh, thanks, Janet. Janet is saying, make sure everybody on YouTube to give me a thumbs up. If you're on Amazon, make sure that you're following me. If you're not following me on Amazon already, go to amazon.com, look at the lives and follow me because I would love that for all of you. If you're on Facebook, a like always helps too. I try not to be too baggy about it. But if you're enjoying yourself, that's great. So this is just a can of, I had fire roasted tomatoes. And so we're going to plop that guy in there. And we're just putting that into the old Multo. Right? Multo by Cooking Pal. And let's see what else. I'm supposed to put a little bit of cumin, so I'm probably going to put just a little bit, like maybe a half teaspoon, a quarter to a half. I'm going to err on the side of caution. Now, this one needs to just be opened. I'm going to put about a teaspoon. This is the Mexican oregano, and it smells so good, you guys. Maybe I'll put a little bit more, like a teaspoon and a half. I also have a few other powders. Let's do the lime, though, too. These are teeny limes, and I wanted to talk to you too. We've talked some about this in the past. Is if you don't have lime, and I have it somewhere. Let's see if it's over here. You guys don't see all the things behind the scenes. I don't know where. Oh, here we go. Yes. So I'm going to pull this up on the Amazon carousel, and we'll talk about this. It's true lime and lemon packets. I love these guys. So it's like this, true lime or true lemon. Let me find them. And they're super cool. You can also get them where they're not in little packs, but this way you can just throw it in your purse, put it in your water. I will say I did not realize the orange ones do have a little bit of sugar if you're avoiding sugar, but none of the others do. And they have grapefruit, they have lemon, they have orange. I think I've said all the flavors now. Okay. But one of the things that I did, and I put it back over there, is I dehydrated my own. So I literally took and sliced some limes thinly, dehydrated them in the Breville. You can dehydrate them in a Netsco or any dehydrator that you have, and then just ground them up in my spice grinder. And it smells like magic. So if you don't have fresh limes, that's one thing you can do. Another thing is when you want to try and juice, take out a langer. And I know these haven't been very juicy, these tiny little guys. You'd think they were key limes, but they're not. That's how tiny they are. Yeah, oh, dehydrated citrus is a great idea. And thanks for the good vibes, Vivian. Dehydrated citrus, and actually I made orange. I dehydrated orange. I dehydrated lemon, lime, and strawberries. That's what we made our strawberry quick with last week. Okay, so I'm going to use this OXO citrus reamer. There we go. Oh, this is really funny. Vivian said, was watching a YouTube video and the guy was cooking and he did that garlic trick on the bumper of his car. That's kind of fun. Just slammed it. Whoomp. That would work. See, there's not a whole lot of juice in these in particular. And that's something you're going to kind of have to think about too. If you have a giant lime, which happens, or super juicy lime, and it says half a lime, maybe you only need a quarter of a lime. You can also do this to taste. So I could do one, stop here, smell it. I'm going to make it super limey. Well, hopefully I'm making it super limey. We'll see how much juice comes out. But this will get juice out, whereas these little guys, even the juice squeezers, the ones that come together, I don't think get very much out of this. You need to ream it out. Don't have one of these. use the back of your spoon or a big tablespoon or something. That will work too. And Apple's been blending whole lemons and freezing in an ice cube tray. And that's an awesome thing to do too. Another thing, what I should have done, ready for that, for the guilt of the shoulds, is I should have gone ahead and zested this lime so I could freeze it or dehydrate it and then juice it. You can freeze the zest of a lime just as easy as you can dehydrate it. So that's all up to you. Okay, we're supposed to be putting all the things in here. Let me double check something. Lime juice, tomatoes, salt. And again, we could do this, if you don't do salt, I'm probably going to put in about a half teaspoon of salt. You could leave it out totally. You could use your favorite salt substitute. All that will work. So just know that too. And we could put some apple cider vinegar in here, but I think I have enough lime. Typically with salsa, I do one or the other. Don't have limes, don't have lime powder, want to make salsa, use apple cider vinegar. It's going to give that same yummy, sour, bright taste to everything. Oh, Ashley is here and on her lunch break again. It's so good to see you, Ashley. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, and what are we going to do next? So I have some chili powders that I could add. I made some guajillo chili powder. I have some really hot jalapeno powder, which I might put a pinch in there. And also, if I don't think these tomato flavor is strong enough, this is tomato powder. So I might add some of that in there. But for now, we're going to make this. Make this, meaning we're actually going to... Don't you love it when I just say half a sentence? Like Cheryl gets into trouble for that so much. We're going to do whatever this tells us to do. So it's saying, that looks like 8 minutes on one. How about we do it, let's do it 1 minute. We'll do it 1 minute 30 seconds on looks like we have 1, 2, or 3. Let's try 2. Oh, it's cooking it. We don't want it cooked. So pause, stop. I'm reading sideways. I don't want to cook it, but I do want to puree it. So I think we're going to back out of here for now. We're going to back out all the way, go to modes, go to manual, time, speed. Let's do speed. There we go. We're gonna blitz this stuff up. We're gonna do about an 8. I did check. For those of you who watched the horchata debacle of last week, I checked inside, and the top is like this silicone sealer that was not even. It had moved, and so stuff splashed out. So I checked that before. So just in case this is your first time or you're trying to do this with me on your Multo, make sure to check that. Okay, and we want to chop, and let's start it. I love this. Drops Debate says, gosh darn technology these days. I know, right? It's super cool. And so this could be, that's why I was saying, if for someone who's maybe getting their first apartment or first house and they're just learning how to cook, it's awesome because you can get your recipes. If you're someone who's already knows how to cook, then you can go into the manual mode, just like what we're doing. And Ashley says, I'm living in the future. And it's kind of true. And it does wash itself too. We're going to see that in a minute. Now, Ronnie had a question. When freezing citrus, do you leave the skin on or zest the skin off? So if you wanted to hydrate it, then powder it, getting it right. What I would do if you want to freeze the juice, so you could also just, I would zest it. Or really not, I would take a peeler and get just that beautiful skin, leaving the pith or the white part off. You could freeze that in a bag for later. You could then also puree the whole citrus if you wanted to. You could take the pith on or off. I did leave the pith on my lemons. And it actually gives you this fragrance of like bitter lemon soda, because I did that on purpose, thinking it would be good for like cocktails and mocktails, and I think it's gonna work great. Honestly, if I were you and you wanted to hydrate it anyhow, if you have the time, I would go ahead and just dehydrate the zest, or just literally slice the citrus. Slice it, put the slices in the dehydrator, and then grind it. I wouldn't freeze it, then dehydrate it unless like you have to. And then if you have to, act as if you're going to freeze it. So freeze the pulp in ice cube trays, and freeze the pit, without the pit, freeze the zest in maybe like a little baggie. But I think you're going to get an easier result. Like, one of the things I like about the Breville is that I can do 4 trays of dehydration in there. But you can do this in the oven too. Better if you can set it around 135 degrees, but even up to 150 with the door cracked. That should work too. It takes about, depends on how thick you slice your citrus, but I think it took 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours for mine to be dehydrated enough. I also dehydrated some citrus slices and did a little slit, so that I can decorate cocktails with them too. And Drops Debate said, that's me. I just got my first apartment and cooking's been a real struggle. And it can be. It totally, and I never really learned how to cook, and I don't have a lot of equipment nor the money. Now, I will say this is an amazing appliance, but it is not an inexpensive appliance. So Drops Debate, if you want some easy starter recipes other than this, feel free to drop me an email or to message me as well, and I'll get you hooked up with some easy vegan recipes that are great to start out with. Salsa and hummus you can't really go wrong with either, because those are really great ways to start cooking. Okay, awesome. Ronnie, you got that? Yeah, the display is super cool on the Multo for sure. And speaking of that, let's see what we've got in here. Oh, Vivian's talking nonsense for a Southern. Where are you from, Vivian? Because we don't do that sort of thing here, eating mustard on a tomato sandwich. Well, I may have blended it a little bit too much, but Cheryl will eat it. So, let me see. Oh, it's good. And so what I find is when it's fresh like this, it's kind of restaurant-y. And I do want to add some more flavors. I want to add a bunch of cilantro. I think I want to add a little bit of heat. And so I'm going to put in some of this really hot jalapeno powder. That's my note to myself. Because I went ahead, I was lazy, and I did it seeds, ribs, and all. So we're just going to put like a 1/4 teaspoon in there. It's not as hot as like you know, you did something super bad. This is guajillo chili that I dehydrated. This is just going to give it a little bit of a darker flavor, so I'm going to put about a teaspoon or so in there. And I think I'm going to give it just a little bit of bump on the tomato with a little bit of tomato powder. And these are just cherry tomatoes I sliced in half and dehydrated and ground. And then we're going to add in some cilantro. So I'm going to go ahead and use, I have some OXO scissors. And I'm trying to get it over here. I know I put them in here. There we go. I always say your kitchen shears, the difference between these and all the extra ones in your house are I can lick these and not be afraid. Do not let your roommate, spouse, sister, anybody open the mail with these or anything gross. Okay, it has to be clean so that I can go, oh, I would like some cilantro. Let me just click some of that down, right? I'm going to clip some of it down. And in fact, I have some other herbs growing. So I like a lot of cilantro. In there, and I'm just going to, they said to not use the stems. And I have to tell you, that is wrong. It's just wrong. The stems have the same amount of flavor. So if you don't want to, so let's say I don't want this to be pokey. What I will do is use this in a puree. So like if I'm making a green chutney, always use the stems because you're pureeing it all the way anyhow. Okay, lots of this, and I'm going to chop it for just a tiny bit of time. And I'm almost thinking about putting another can of tomatoes in there. But for right now, I'm not going to. And I think, nah, okay. This is how I make stuff up, you guys. You know how I am. Oh, and drops of 8, you are not typing way too much at all. I'm going to get to yours in just a bit, I promise. But no, we're here to help. So speed 8. Let's do speed 2. And let's do it for much less. Let's do it for like 20 seconds, 15 seconds maybe. Let's try that. And one of the reasons I'm telling you these things is because we all have to figure these things out. No one just magically knows. You have to try it. And 2 is seeming like perhaps that it's not going to do it. So, I'm not hearing anything chopping, so let's see what happened. Did it just stir or did it chop? It stirred, so I think we need to go a little faster than that. Are you guys like me? Do you err on the side of caution in a very comedic way? It'll be like, let's go. Okay, I think we need to go 8, but let's just go for like 10 seconds. The other way. Let's try 8 seconds. Okay. All right. There we go. That looks much better. Here, let me show you too. So now we have bits and pieces of the cilantro. And again, the way that they had it in their recipe, it was going to be a much chunkier sauce. I chose not to do it that way. Just scrape some of this. Then we're going to wash it and we're going to make our hummus. And then I'm going to get back to your comments too. I love you guys talking to me. And if I've not gotten to you, I'm not ignoring you. I am getting there, I promise. I am multitasking like a crazy person that I am. All right, so I'm going to take a little taste because we always want to taste, because what if it's not salty enough? What if that cilantro didn't give me the boost I wanted it to? I think it's good. So you do taste a lot of onion. Cheryl is not going to eat this salsa. There's just no way. It's delicious though, but Cheryl hates onions. The fresh and the canned tomatoes work really well. I kind of like, honestly, all canned tomatoes. And I think that would be an amazing thing to do, all canned tomatoes. And inexpensive. So what you should do is look for sales for tomatoes for sure. Look for sales on beans, different things like that. And they have a lot of things around. Okay, let me get to, actually, we'll start, get this out. Look. I am 5'1½", so moving this stuff around is not always the easiest for me. Okay. Yummy, yummy salsa. It's gonna fit in 2 bowls. Okay, there's 1 bowl of salsa. And let's see if it'll fit in my little salsa pig. Do you guys have a little salsa pig? Hello. It's super cute. I got it in a thrift store, but you can get it on Amazon too, I'm sure. Amazon has everything, and that's why I shop there so much. And here's the thing, when you're using any appliance like this, using your spatulas helps it clean up better because we don't have all that junk to pour out. Ooh, I went a little overboard. This little piggy is overfull. So I'm going to take it over here. I'm sorry, poor piggy. I'm going to rinse this lid off just a little bit because there's chunks. And then I'm also going to go ahead and rinse the bowl and bring it back. Ashley says I'm fun-sized. I think that's probably pretty true. I am fun-sized. Okay, so I'm going to just rinse these guys real quick. And because we're changing flavors so much, we will wash it for sure this time. And we're going to use the cleaning setting. If we're going to use the cleaning setting, why the heck am I rinsing it out? To get all that cilantro and bits and chunks of things that just aren't going to happen. I'm going to put some water in here, just like a cup or 2. And they have a quick clean, and I'm going to put like a drop of dish detergent, like literally a drop. And then I'm going to put it this way, and that way I can clean up over here while we are looking. I'm still going to put this on, and you see how that guy goes there. Okay, now let's go over here and go to manual mode. So we're in manual. There's the clean. And there's 2, the quick wash or the deep cleanse. The quick wash is what we want. Add water and dishwashing liquid before you start cleaning. Okay, so it did about 30 seconds. And we're done. Oh, no, we're not done. Do you know why? Kathy did not look there. We've got 9 more seconds, 8 more seconds. You can pause it. There we go. And the deep cleanse is for 3 minutes. And that's why I'm not going to make you sit here for 3 minutes while I do that. And I didn't clean the counter, so let me sneak over here. Let's see if we can't clean up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to rinse all that stuff out again. But that's how you do it, and it's easy. And it's helpful. And I like easy and helpful things. And Apple says it must smell good in my kitchen, and it does. And again, I'm just rinsing everything real good to get all that soap off. And I think if it wasn't, let's say maybe I had something, since you can cook in here, that I burned on or something like that, then you could do that several times. And I think you could even warm up the water, which can be very helpful for getting things out. That would be what I would think. I like to use this sprayer so that I can spray the soap out a little more fast by bringing it all down to the bottom and then pouring it out. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Ooh, except for that part right there that I didn't wipe off. And it's gone now. Cooking messy and rebellious with Kathy. That's what we're doing now. So let's stop for just a second. I want to go back to Drops the Bait with saying, and I believe that they're doing HelloFresh because it's pretty foolproof. Everybody has a history with being a fool in the kitchen, especially me. No one pops out of the womb going, I think I will make a delicious gourmet meal. It's hard, and I became vegetarian in 1983, and that's when I learned how to cook. So give yourself some patience. Exactly, save the recipes you like. That's a very good thing. And so they had a recipe for risotto. It said to prepare a pan of water, boil it. Then it had 8 or 9 steps for the sauce, and then it said now add the risotto. And I threw it in the sauce unboiled. Oh, so you put the uncooked rice in the sauce part. And typically, you just never know. Different people are going to do recipes such a different way. And sometimes I'll have, like I have a risotto that you make in the oven, a risotto you make in the Instant Pot, a risotto you make in the slow cooker, and each one has a little bit different thing. So find the things that actually tend to make sense to you best and stick with that way. But again, I'm here if you have questions, for sure. And Valerie said, I love using cilantro and the stems and parsley the same way. Exactly, the stems have just as much flavor. I use ground rosemary instead of the dried rosemary because it's pokey. I don't like the way it pokes me in the mouth, so I grind it. Same thing, stems, you might think, oh, that's going to be such a bite. Puree them. So I could take all the rest of the cilantro, use it however I normally would, puree the stems, and add it into a soup, stew, risotto, anything that I want. And Ronnie likes to throw all the ingredients in the food processor and pulse it. And certainly I have a bunch of different salsa recipes, but since we're using the Multo and we're kind of trying to feature the pad, I want you to see how it's saying to do it. And with some of my own changes as well. And it is Bilbo. Bilbo Swaggins. I love that. We're a geeky household, so I appreciate that very much. I can't quite explain it, but cilantro tastes really strange to me. Foods are not edible with cilantro. Well, there is like a gene in people where cilantro is just not a nice thing. And so you could leave cilantro out. You could add parsley. You know what would be really good in here? If you have some lemon balm or something like that. I find, because that adds that extra lemon citrus flavor. Or just don't put anything. You know what else you could put in to mimic it? Kale. You got some green flecks in there. You get a little extra nutrition. Everybody's happy. And Apple loves Bilbo Swaggins too. Yep, and Bilbo, you have the soapy taste, so you do have that. Whoops, I can't eat cilantro. All right, so back to this thing. We're going to go to the guided. I'm going to look up hummus, perhaps. Come on, there we go. Creamy hummus. And let's see, I know it's in here somewhere. Cinnamon whipped cream is not what we want. Give me my hummus. There it is. So again, we're not going to do this one because they're using baking soda and I don't use baking soda in mine, but we'll kind of look around. Some of the stuff will be similar. Again, you can look at the steps. See that, I don't know why they're cooking the chickpeas, but we'll be because they're using a can of chickpeas, right? Canned chickpeas. I don't know why they're cooking them. But let's start and let's live our best lives. So we want to chop some parsley. We're not going to set this aside. We're going to put our parsley in later because that's the kind of house I live in. And Lydia says hello, and welcome, Lydia. Always good to see you. They're simmering them with baking soda to make them more tender. However, yeah, I'm not doing that. They're zesting the lemon and squeezing a lemon, garlic, and tahini. Okay, so let's start talking about this. So first, can O chickpeas. These are organic. We're going to save the aquafaba. So I put a couple of little can drainers because you guys are always asking me about my can drainer. It's super cute and I love it. And I've got a stainless steel and a plastic one because I know you guys like what you like. And I am looking for my can opener. Okay. So whenever I use chickpeas, cannellini beans, or white beans that are canned, I save the liquid, which is also called, fancy Latin word, aquafaba. Aquafaba has some of the properties of an egg white and an egg yolk, but you can't do everything with it, okay? And I'm also using, I love these little measuring cups, these OXO measuring cups, because they have stuff on the inside too, and ounces, so, and milliliters. So you take it like this, and I don't think there's much liquid in this can, which is going to be interesting because I'm going to use some of it to blend. And that totally makes sense. You can cook beans in anything, a slow cooker, an Instant Pot. You can cook beans from dry in here. You can cook it on your stove. You can cook them and freeze them. So I freeze them in 1.5 cups. This can does not have a lot of aquafaba, which is going to be interesting because I was going to use extra aquafaba in here, but we'll figure this puppy out, okay? And so back to the Multo for now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add these chickpeas. And Lydia's saying, do I know why they would put baking soda in? I think they're just trying to make it creamier, and that's why they're cooking it with that. See how tall? Like, there's never this little aquafaba in a can that I've ever had. What is there? There's not even a quarter. There's like 1/8 of a cup. So that's like what? 2 tablespoons. I'm going to get all the aquafaba I can out of there. Aquafaba-rific. And also I need to put, you guys, if you could see my poor little piggy full of salsa over here, he's just like overflowing. I think it's time for some snackage. So they're talking about, this is a big lemon. So we're going to put some of the lemon peel in here, and let me show you. I think we did this last time too. I'm going to take this potato peeler and try and get up as close to the top. So see, there's a few little pieces with the pith or the white. And this is where all those volatile oils are that are so amazing. Why we like essential oils and stuff like that. I'm probably going to put just 2 pieces in, but I'm going to go ahead and strip the rest of this lemon, and if I get too much of this, I can scrape that out with a knife as well. So just know if something happens, the world has not ended. And probably the extra of this, I'll freeze or dehydrate to use in some other dish some other time. This will make things taste quite extra lemony, which is super awesome. Okay. La la la. Yes, I am going to make you wait for this one. I'm almost done, I promise. Just sing a little lemon jingle to yourself for a moment. We're going to probably use about the juice of about half of this. So again, we can smash it and roll it a little bit to make it easier. This is a big lemon. I think I'm going to start with just a quarter of this lemon because it's pretty gosh darn big. And I'm going to hold my hand under here. I don't see any seeds, but in case there's seeds, my hand will catch it. You could do this, there we go, see? Or you could do this through a fine mesh strainer. Since we're just using 1 can of beans, I want to make sure that I'm not going a little bit too crazy with the lemon. I can always add more, but I can't take it out, right? That's the problem. I'm going to also go ahead and add a little bit of tahini. Tahini is a sesame butter, and I am using, let's see, I'm going to try and bring this up too. I'm using, there's an organic one I just brought up, and I'm using the Lior. It's non-GMO, it's gluten-free and dairy-free, and I really like it. We're going to try putting, and I think, Lydia, did I answer your question? Because I'm multitasking so much. I think that they put baking soda and cook the chickpeas with it just to soften it a little bit, because they're claiming this is the smoothest hummus recipe. The way I know to make the creamiest hummus is kind of a pain. You cook your garbanzo beans and then you peel them, that extra husk that's on there, and then it's a much smoother product. And Paper Finesse says they puree cilantro, add oil and pine nuts, and freeze in small cubes. So basically you make kind of like a cilantro pesto, which would be delicious. And you could even make a kale pesto or other things as well. So I'm going to take about a tablespoon of this tahini, and we'll put it here. Spatula to the rescue. Okay, and I'm going to save some of this aquafaba out. Usually there's a little more, and if I need it for mixing, I'm going to add it. Let me see what other things they were saying they're putting in theirs. And blend with the tahini. I think that's all the things that they're saying. We can flavor it a little more after. We'll put a couple of pieces of, actually let's just put 1 big piece of this lemon zest in there. And let me find this, the top. And my friends Dawn and Rob and Finley are staying at our house, so guess what they're eating? We're having Mexican tonight, and we're having hummus snacks. I love that. I'm going to stop it right here because you know what I left out? I left out garlic. So let's see what this looks like right now. Then we'll add in some garlic, like grown-up people do. Ooh, it looks really good. It's ready to be scraped down anyhow. So I'm going to scrape all this down. Okay. It looks really yummy. You know what I could do? And what I think I'm going to do? If you're like, who is this chick and all this fresh garlic that she's using? Yes, we could have put fresh garlic in here. We can also put garlic powder in here. And I happen to have roasted garlic powder. So let me find it over here. It is somewheres in all of the spice. extravaganza. There we go, roasted garlic. Okay, so it's just a roasted garlic powder. And if you have both, smell both. And I'm going to put in probably about a quarter to a half a teaspoon. Again, that's usually where I start. If you use salt, you could add some salt now. This is also where we could add other things. If you want it to be lemony hummus, woo, lemony hummus, sounds like lemony snicket, doesn't it? You could put more of the peel in. I'm going to taste this real quick. And it is not super lemony at all. So I'm going to add this other half of the lemon. And I'm going to get that seed. Okay. Because I didn't do what I was supposed to do now, did I? Now here's some other stuff we could add. We could add a little cumin. I think I'm going to sprinkle some of the tar on the top, but you could sprinkle some of that now. We could end up using more roasted garlic. Let's do just a tad bit more. I also think I want to put a little bit of smoked paprika in this and give it just a little smoky taste. You could put cumin. You could put so many different other things in there too. We could put a jalapeno and cilantro in here and make jalapeno cilantro hummus. We could put roasted red pepper in there. We could put pumpkin. We could put kale, spinach, artichoke, right? Any of those things is where we put here. And Janet says, well, first, I don't know if you guys saw that. Apple said she loves watching me at my cauldron, and I love that. Like, I could not love that anymore. Oh, and Debbie is here. Yay. I'm so glad you're here. And Janet says, I always have a hard time getting my hummus to a really smooth texture. So I would say, because we didn't even blend it all the way, this is pretty daggone smooth right now. So I think if you wanted to, I don't think we're going to need any of this. And I think I'm also going to go ahead and add a couple more pieces of zest and make it more of a lemon roasted garlic hummus. You could put roasted garlic. So there are a couple of ways that we can do some super smooth hummus. Let's get this going. The lid is open, it's telling me, which is awesome to have it tell me that. Okay, and I want to change this. I want to change it back to a minute because I added so many other things in there, at least. Yeah, we're going to do a minute because I put if I only put ground ingredients, I might not have changed it, but because of the lemon peel. Okay, I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. And let's open it up. Ooh, that looks really good. And you see the paprika made it a little bit red. Oh, it smells so good, you guys. Let's taste it and see if it needs more of anything before we do anything else. But always scrape it down. Because, like, did you see some of the paprika had gotten kind of caught on the side? That's any appliance that you use. If you use any kind of blender, food processor, or multi-use appliance like this Multo, You're always going to be scraping down your sides, and a spatula is always, always going to be your best friend. Okay, so I'm going to get one of my, I have little tasting spoons too. So let me get around in here, and let's see what we're tasting for. You guys, you know the lemon hummus you buy with the zest, it makes it taste like that. I love it. I would also put some lemon herbs in there, like lemon verbena, lemon basil, lemon balm. If you're growing stuff in your garden, those would all be good additions too. I did not put parsley in it. I think I'm going to put parsley on top of it, but it would be prettier if I put parsley in it. And I have gas. So let's do a handful of parsley. And let's see how that works. I'll keep a couple of pieces out for the top. Let's see how that gets in there. I'm going to make sure it's kind of down in, so while it mixes and chops, it doesn't just fly to the top. I don't need to save that many pieces. Here we go. And I cut that from my teeny tiny little parsley from my garden. And you guys are going to start seeing some stuff from my patio deck garden. Woohoo! Did you guys see me getting crazy with that hummus? All right, and Apple's saying, hey, making hummus today. I love that. And I've made black bean hummus. It does come out a purple color, and you could use purple sweet potatoes and make that as well. So there is no limit to the kinds of hummuses that you can make. And CJ says that they make basil hummus and sun-dried tomato and basil, right? And you can use white beans instead of chickpeas, and then it's an Italian dip. But we can do whatever we want with hummus. This is our life. So don't even feel bad about that. Remember, we're being rebels today. So I'm going to go all the way back to manual, and we're going to chop. Let's say 45 seconds. I'm guessing 40 seconds. It may not be enough. I want to be at speed bazillion, like speed 8. And let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and let's see how that looks. Oh, I thought I was pausing it, but okay. Doesn't matter anyhow, does it? Okay. Yeah, that chopped it up perfect for me, anyhow. So you can, as I scrape it down, you'll see it a little bit better. It'll be a little smoother. And it's not like you can really overwork the chickpeas. And if you don't want to put tahini in there, if you're on a no seed, no oil diet, you could just use aquafaba instead and just add extra spices. You can get some hummus that's oil-free at Whole Foods, the Engine 2, but honestly, it's a lot more economical. And you can make any flavor you want if you make it at home. So I think that's a great way to do it. And Debbie says that she makes smoked hummus with smoked garlic powder and fresh smoked garlic and liquid smoke. Oh my gosh, Debbie, I need your hummus. Need. So where do you live? Like down the street from me? Or soon to be? Ready to move to North Carolina and live in my neighborhood? So I'm going to take, actually, I'm gonna move this to where I can actually get to it. Because I am fun-sized. I love that. So I'm gonna this is how I usually would serve it. If you eat oil, you could add some olive oil on the top, but there's really no need. This is gonna be nice the way it is. Okay, so you're like, the lady is plopping hummus on a plate. How is this interesting to me? We're gonna move it around to make it look prettier and dippier, right? Okay. And if you're doing oil, you even want to have more little valleys and peaks. But for me, this is really good right here. Let me make sure we're getting this in the, there we go. Okay, so this sitar is just a bunch of herbs and right? We can sprinkle some of those on, and that'll add a little extra yummy flavor. There's some sumac and other yummy things. You can also even dust around your plate, especially if it's a white plate. That makes it look smancy. You could put sesame seeds or toasted sesame seeds on there. Janet says, guess what I'm making later? Exactly, right? I'm gonna take a little of this smoked paprika because I just am into it. And I think it'll make the colors pop a little bit. We could also put some minced parsley, I think would be a good idea. You could put other things on there too, but let me go back and let's have just a couple of pieces of parsley, but I think I'm going to rinse the knife and we're going to chop it up. I only saved just a little bit. Mine are so tiny because it's a little baby parsley plant outside, but it had enough to give me some parsley. So we could save this one fancy piece to go in the middle. And I'll use the stems in something else, but I don't want to use the stems necessarily in the garnish. It's not going to be as pretty, right? And if you haven't ever done this before, let's see if this helps. I think most of you are used to using a chef's knife, but you want to keep the tip down at all the time and lift that up, and you can move it around. And that's how it, and always be careful because you can cut yourself. So don't run your finger across the blade. And you're like, does Kathy think I'm foolish? No, I think I've done it before. So I'm trying to get you not to make the same mistakes as me. Probably anything cool that I tell you, I've probably already made that mistake. So let's put some of this on. Let's look overhead. Overhead. There we go. And see how pretty this looks? We could also do some grated lemon zest. Let's see, I'll have another lemon somewhere. See, I could do that around there so that if people want extra parsley, they can scoop off of there. Because Dawn and Rob, Finley's parents, are actually getting the house today, which is 1 mile from my house, so I'm super excited. And so when they come back, I'll have a snack ready for them, several snacks. And then I'll get ready to do, and you can put like one little happy thing in the middle or to the side. But see, isn't that nice? And then I'm going to have another platter that's going to have things like sliced bell peppers, sliced, diagonal thick sliced carrots. You can do any veggies. You could do pita bread. You can even do tortilla chips or something like that. There's no wrong thing to eat with hummus. And Patricia was saying, is this just an enormous food processor? No. So here's the thing. It's called Multo by Cooking Pal, and it works like a high-speed blender, a food processor. It cooks, and it also has steamers, so you can do multi-layered and tiered dishes so that you cook like a sauce or pasta in here and steam veggies on the top to use. It's pretty cool. Ooh, and Deb's made sriracha hummus. Sriracha hummus is awesome. But think of it, basically all you're doing is pureeing chickpeas, possibly with tahini, possibly just with the aquafaba that came with it, or your own homemade aquafaba, and then anything that you want. So if I had some leftover roasted vegetables that didn't get eaten, I could either mince them and use them as a garnish, or I could puree them in, depending on what they are and the flavors of them. So radish, I would probably chop up and use on the top. Sweet potatoes, you could even use regular potatoes, pumpkin, winter squash, so many things. Yeah, and here's the thing. Normally I wouldn't go this far. If I was just having a snack for me, I'll eat it out of the container from the fridge. But since I'm having company, I'm trying to behave like a responsible adult. Do you guys have any questions? And Patricia, if you come back and watch the replay, I think you'll get a little more feel for things too. Today we did use it as a food processor because we made salsa and we made hummus with it. Last week we used it like we would use a blender. We made strawberry oat milk and brown rice horchata. The week before that, I made frozen drinks with it, and actually the ice cubes you put in, it turns into snow, like snow cone snow. And so I made a mocktail with 0 alcohol rum, and I used pineapple juice and made a pineapple sunrise. But anyhow, guys, it's been so awesome to end my week with you. If you have some questions, reach out. I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to see all of you here today. I hope you have an amazing, amazing weekend, and that I get to see you very, very soon. Bye.